There could be a huge Bills move incoming. A new report from Sports Illustrated just revealed a massive update about Buffalo's backfield that could mean the end of the James Cook era. The Bills are now being linked to one of college football's most explosive runners, and this guy put up over 1,300 yards last season. My name is Maeve Miller, and I'm part of the Digest Media team, so please subscribe to the Bills Digest YouTube channel. Firstly, who is this prospect I'm talking about? And this is former Tulane and now Oregon transfer, McKel Hughes. And he had just made it a name for himself in college football. And he actually has like the most rush yards of a football player that's returning for the 2026 season. And yes, like I said, he started at Tulane and put up a lot of good numbers there and got a lot of notice. So he eventually is transferred to Oregon, which is where he'll be this following season. And, Oregon's a very big football school in the Big Ten now, so I feel like there's a lot more national spotlight on them. So because of that, Hughes is kind of being talked about more. And it's a huge potential, but people were saying that it could be in the second round of next year's NFL draft. And this is from Pro Football and Sports Network Mark Stolte, who said this. And this is a prediction. Obviously, this is a ways away, and a lot has to happen for that, whatever. But he just has really made a name for himself. He had over 1,400 yards, 15 touchdowns, and kind of made himself more of a pass catcher as opposed to a running back, which the Bills like to have. Not only did he put up a lot of good rushing yards, but he put up 176 receiving yards, 19 receptions, and 2 touchdowns in last year's season when it came to receptions. And with this transfer to Oregon, it'll be interesting to see how that goes because competition is a lot bigger with Big Ten schools as opposed to Tulane. So there is a lot of good news. Like I said, he'll be more in the spotlight, but also means that the defense will be stronger, so we don't know if his numbers will be as strong. But Hughes is 5'11", he's 210 pounds, and he's just a big dude. Even though he's kind of shorter, he's very muscular, and he can show that he's a lot of endurance. He's 523 carries, which I feel like is a lot, and that just shows that, he's the kind of guy that's in the game, he's very productive, and he just wants to get that ball, which I feel like is a good thing for the Bills. Like I said, this is a lot of speculation, and a lot has to happen with the other running backs, and the draft, we don't know what could happen with that. Hughes could get hurt, but I think it's interesting speculation because there's been a lot of talk about running backs. Which leads me to my second point, which is what this means for James Cook. James Cook, I love. I'll start off by saying that. I think he's a great player. I think last season was definitely a breakout year. I mean, look at that picture. That play was just insane. And I feel like I've always liked him. He's gotten better each year. And I feel like him playing so well kind of opened up other options for the Bills offense. And one of the major ways was Josh Allen not having to do everything. It's nice we could establish the run that wasn't just Allen. I love when Allen runs the ball, but there is that fear of quarterback protection, getting hurt. And so it's nice the Bills can hand it off to someone else and Allen doesn't have to throw it or run it, even though those are both great options. So I was very pleased with how this went, and I feel like it was a combination of Cook getting better and the offensive line being really strong, and I feel like it was a big impact on why the Bills had some of the most points in the NFL. I would say the only issues with Cook are just the contract. He has been asking for a lot. In the last couple of months, he's been on social media discussing what he thinks he deserves, and that number is $15 million in his next contract because right now he's in the final year of his rookie contract, and the Bills are pretty notorious for having salary cap issues, and also running backs just aren't paid as much as other players, which is interesting, wide receivers, quarterbacks, and Cook actually talked about that. He said, because we do a lot, and I think we value that and all the hard work that we put in on the ground and pass blocking, all those types of things, and I think we should be valued more. So, yeah, he definitely spoke his piece about that. He talked a lot about this on social media mainly, and these things speaking a little shady, he was taking down posts from the Bills, and there's a lot of PTSD from Stephon Diggs when all that happened because no one wants a player in the locker room, and we don't want issues like that. But I also think a big factor in Cook maybe not receiving this money in his contract is that he doesn't play in as many snaps as you think. He plays in just 45.2% of offensive snaps, and whereas his backups, Ty Johnson, plays in 28.2%, and Ray Davis plays in 24.3%. So a lot of people are saying, if we're going to pay $15 million, you should be in the game more. Someone like Saquon Barkley, who deserves every penny he's getting, plays in almost 80% of snaps, and Christian McCaffrey's around that same number. So that's what I feel like is a big difference. And the Bills do have a lot of other options besides the run, But I just think that's a pretty big factor into why maybe he shouldn't be getting that money. And as of right now, they have not established a contract. And I know the hope was to get one going before the season starts, but that has not happened. So a lot of it is up in the air. Brandon Beane, the general manager, has been a little tight-lipped about this, which is fine, but we're definitely curious to see what's going to happen. And this, Josh Allen, so that's about Cook at minicamp, because a lot of times when like this kind of happens, it's like contract issues, the player, if they don't know if they're getting a deal, don't like play as well or don't put in as much effort. But Allen said, I'm very, very proud that he's here and he's working as hard as he is being on the field with us. A lot of guys that wouldn't do that, but he's out there and working hard and showing everybody that he is here for the right reasons, and hopefully that can get solved. He's one of the best backs in the league, and hopefully that can be reflected soon. And I like this quote because it also shows that Allen, of course, wants him on the team. Like, he knows how hard Cook has worked and seen the progress the last couple years. And, like I said, hopefully that can get solved, and that's what I think everyone on the team wants to get solved. But it's just like a matter of, is Cook willing to take a lesser contract, or are the Bills willing to offer him more? We'll have to see about that. But also relating to, guys not showing up to camp, this is what Brandon Beane said. He said, sometimes business gets in the way. We understand that. Jimbo, who's a competitive dude, he loves playing for the team. He loves being a part of it. He loves his role here, and he fits the offense really well. I think it's been a great fit for him. It's been fun to watch him the first 3 years. Every year he's taken a step, and to see him get the accolades he got last season was cool. So I feel like that just shows that Brandon Beane also wants him to be on the team, and they want to make something work. But like I said, it really just depends on, if people are willing to compromise and if not. But personally, I would love it if Cook was signed again. But I do love his backups, and Ty Johnson and Ray Davis. I think those are great players, and they're just very versatile, which I like. I feel like Johnson is a little bit different than the other two guys. I feel like plays more as a pass catcher, than running back. Kind of depends on the situation, but he plays in 67.8% of third down snaps, whereas Cook only plays in about 12%, so I feel like it's a big difference. And we've seen major plays from Ty Johnson where he makes great catches like this against the Broncos to put them up. And this was a little contested, but it ended up being a touchdown. And I feel like that just kind of shows that he is kind of more of a playmaker. And I like that he can be a little more versatile in offense. He's not just always a running back. He can be good options for Allen. Allen definitely looked to him to pass the ball, especially in plays like this or in the red zone. He is a quick little guy, and I just really like him. He kind of emerged this year as a star in my eyes, even though, he's a backup. I just feel like he definitely pulled his weight and was another threat for the Bills. The other player that they have, Ray Davis, is also the backup, and he's definitely more of a traditional downhill runner, kind of running back. Not used on those pass options as much, but he's a great guy. He's tough, he's built, and he's shown that he's a lot of endurance. And one of the games he had 20 carries, so it just shows that he's on that field a lot. And I like that. Because with the Cook deal being a little bit up in the air, it's hard to tell what's going to happen in the future, and that's why the Bills could be looking to draft someone next year, or maybe someone like Davis or Johnson will have a huge year and just really break out. I mean, Davis was a rookie last year, whereas Johnson is more a veteran and has been in the league for a couple of years. So it's two different guys that have very different playing styles, but it meshes very well together, and it's complementary. Cook can kind of do both, but Davis can be more of a running, Johnson can be running back or receiver type. So I just kind of like that trio and what they can do. And then the fourth string on the depth chart is Darrington Evans, and he's also been more of a veteran. He's has 6 years of NFL experience and has been on the Bears, the Dolphins, and the Titans in his last 6 years. And now I don't really know too much about him, but having the NFL experience is always a good thing. And obviously, you're kind of hoping the fourth string won't have to play as much or play at all, with hoping that everyone stays healthy and is playing well. So we'll definitely see what happens with that. But I feel like for the most part, it is going to have to do with Cook's performance for next year. That's going to be a huge indicator, because if he has just as good of a season, or probably would have to have a better one, then what's to say that he wouldn't get that $15 million if he has a huge season? And obviously Bills fans and myself would love to see that. The team would love to see that. But I think that would answer a lot of questions. Also with training camp coming up, he is expected to be there, obviously, even with all this kind of contract drama. So I feel like, next season will be a huge indicator on what that running back scene can look like. And I feel like it'd be nice for the Bills to kind of figure this out. I'd love to have this contract extension, because I feel like the fans have been a little bit on the Bills' neck about this, the lack of running backs, even though James Cook is good. That next season is a little bit what are we going to do? So, yeah, like I said, we have Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, and even potentially McKel Hughes, and I'm excited to see what the running backs can do. Hopefully, they all have a great season, and our offense can kind of just keep going like it did last season. Once again, please subscribe to the Bills Digest YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, and go Bills.